Here is a postsynaptic neuron which receives GABAergic synapses in blue and glutamatergic synapses in red. We record its activity in whole cell configuration to record a total current and in voltage clamp mode to record a current. To record glutamatergic currents only, we block the GABA channels with gabazine, and to record only the NMDA current, we also apply in the extracellular medium a blocker of AMPA kinase channels, which is the CNQX at 10 micromolar. And we record at a potential of plus 40 millivolt to get rid of the magnesium blockade. As we saw before, at depolarized potential, magnesium ions do not block the NMDA channels. So we record the spontaneous synaptic current, NMDA current, in the absence of magnesium blockade at plus 40 millivolt. At plus 40 millivolt, of course, we record an outward current. What are the properties of the total NMDA current? At a holding potential of plus 40 millivolt, we record an NMDA current which is outward because the reversal potential of the current is at 0 millivolt. This current has a rising phase due to the multiple openings of NMDA channels and a decay phase resulting from the unbinding of NMDA from its receptor sites, and following this unbinding there is a sequential closure of the NMDA channels. We previously saw that the unitary NMDA current is a cation current, and I told you that it is carried by sodium, potassium and calcium ions. We also saw that the NMDA channels are blocked by magnesium ions at hyperpolarized potentials and in particular at resting moment potential. So what's about the total NMDA current? Is it carried by sodium, potassium and calcium ions? Presumably yes, but how to prove it? And what about magnesium blockade? We record the total NMDA current in whole cell configuration and voltage clamp mode. Here is the holding potential in millivolts. At plus 2 and plus 5, the current is outward. There is no magnesium in the extracellular solution. In the presence of physiological concentration of calcium on the left, we have this family of currents. If calcium ions play a role in the NMDA current, if we change the extracellular concentration of calcium, we should change the reversal potential of the current. And this is what we see. Here the reversal potential is around 0, and here plus 17 millivolts. So we have a shift of 17 millivolts, showing that calcium ions go through the NMDA channels. Now, let's see the IV curve. Here is the plot of the total NMDA current versus holding membrane potential. In the absence of magnesium ions, we see that the curve is almost linear and reverses around 0 millivolt. It's exactly what we saw with the unitary NMDA current in the absence of magnesium ions. Now, in the presence of magnesium ions, 500 micromolar in the extracellular medium, the curve is totally different for hyperpolarized potential, but it's very similar for depolarized potentials. How come? It's because at hyperpolarized potentials, magnesium ions block the channel. So the current is very small, and it unblocks around minus 40 millivolts, and then the current gets through. In the absence of magnesium ions, the channel is voltage independent because the curve is almost linear. But in the presence of external magnesium ions, the curve is no longer linear and the channel becomes voltage dependent. Here are calcium, magnesium, sodium and potassium ions. You see here the extracellular medium and here the intracellular medium. When two molecules of glutamate bind to the receptors, this is the AMPA receptor and the NMDA receptor, you see that very quickly the NMDA receptor is blocked by magnesium ions. and the AMPA receptors is open because two molecules are bound, two molecules of glutamate. But this one, though two molecules are bound, it is blocked. There is no NMDA current, but there is an AMPA current. And here the postsynaptic membrane was at first at minus 60 millivolts, but since there is a cationic current, it depolarizes the membrane, and now we see that the membrane potential is depolarized to minus 40 millivolts. At this potential, the magnesium blockade is less efficient. And you'll see now that magnesium is going out, and there is now an NMDA current, a cationic current, through NMDA channels. So at the beginning there is only an AMPA current, then there is AMPA and NMDA currents, and the membrane is more and more depolarized. It's more depolarized than minus 40 millivolts. It depends on how many channels are present in the membrane. So let's summarize. Though glutamate molecules are bound to the channels, the NMDA channel is blocked. You can see it again. At minus 60 millivolt, glutamate binds, but the NMDA channel is very quickly blocked. But the AMPA current depolarizes the membrane up to minus 40 millivolt, where the block is less efficient and the NMDA channels become unblocked, and there is now an NMDA current.